You all are perfect and amazing. Welcome to State of Awareness. My name is Danny Wright. I'm just going to get right into this. So, this video is going to be about detachment and attachment, but I want to preface this by saying I'm not a self-concept coach. I'm not a reprogram your subconscious mind coach. Okay? I'm a awareness and ego awakening type of person that wants to help you. Okay? I don't promote my coaching like that. I offer coaching, but my goal here is to help you escape the ego, to stop taking the ego seriously. Okay? And then by doing so, you naturally will detach from your desire. Point blank, period. Because it will take your SP, the money, the object, or whatever off the pedestal. Okay? Because it's your ego that's making you worry and fixate on it. You're not the ego. You're the one observing the ego. So, attachment to your desire and treating it like it's the holy grail of all your happiness. Just letting you know, you've already had the happiness, the love, and the feeling all within you, but your ego assigned the object a meaning that that is the one that is causing this emotion and feeling, when really it's coming from you. Your desire isn't going inside of your body and giving you this feeling. It's naturally coming up into your awareness. But your ego assigned that desire a meaning and a label and a concept. And then it became attached to it because the ego only knows the 3D. And remember, in all my videos, even on my TikTok videos, I didn't realize I had 100 videos on there. So if you ever want to go to my TikTok and look at it, you're more than welcome to, but I'm switching to YouTube because I can talk longer. Natural detachment happens when you realize that you are not your ego. The ego treats everything as separate from you, okay? And this is the true definition of effortless manifesting, when you escape the distorted perception of the ego, because it was the ego that is the one that caused and judges everything outside of itself. It judges and blames them for doing things to you. It judges your reality constantly. It tries to make sense of your reality. It places labels, identification, and attachments and concepts to everything. But we take it on as true. Okay? The ego is the automatic mind. The mind you do not have to take seriously. You know all that chatter that's going on? That's not natural. We're not supposed to be thinking like that. But we weren't taught this when we were younger. Okay? We've all operated in ego because the ego leads you to your awakening. All right. But we came into the law of assumption community and the law of attraction community are perfect, convenient ways to help you spiritually grow, because your desires lead you to your awakening. Unless you want to go down the path of just manifesting your desires over and over and over again, and you can be fulfilled for a little bit, and then you're on to the next thing. And then you're on to the next thing. The ego will keep leading you down these desires, but you'll never truly be fulfilled. And you can have just an equal reality where you just manifest your desires, where we have free will to do that. But I have to preface this by saying I don't teach the self-concept stuff. I don't say create another ego. You don't need to convince your ego that you are awareness. That's an ego game. We're not playing with the ego anymore. We're not identifying with the ego. You want to identify as your true nature, as awareness, okay? And I understand when I'm coaching people, I coach a lot of people that are leaving the law of assumption community because it turned into the law of self-concept, okay? And once you start understanding the ego more and start understanding awareness more, you'll realize that there's a lot of coaches that we've watched that are operating in ego. Okay, it's impossible for me not to see it, and even me judging that is a ego attaching a label and a meaning, but it's just like, it's so noticeable. But I'm really not here to help you get the self-concept on point, because I don't look at it like that anymore. I want to identify as my awareness. I want to effortlessly be. There's no reason for me to, if I'm awareness, okay, and I'm able to observe the ego, and I don't need to take it seriously and take the mind and the thoughts so seriously, like how the community has harped, like, oh, you better monitor your thoughts all day long. No, you just don't take it seriously anymore. When you came into this community, you were identifying with all your thoughts. That's the key difference. Now you're not taking them seriously. Why do you think you fell into the circumstances you got into? It's because you had this habitual thought loop over and over in horrible inner conversations, you know, and being a victim and all this stuff, and looking how to manifest and do all this stuff, and people talking about how you can write on a piece of paper and put it under your pillow. I've seen some, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. But I noticed that people make this, they add too much stuff to this stuff. Disidentifying with ego is you actually effortlessly and naturally being the awareness you are. And they'll be like, well, then if because I was talking to someone yesterday that I met him a long time ago, right? And he's so attached to his desire. Okay, and it's not bad to have desires, but you don't need to be obsessed with it to the point where you're gonna just make that your end all be all. He said, well, I got into manifesting to manifest this desire, and if I can't get it, then manifestation's a scam. Well, lo and behold, he went into the law of attraction community or whatever. He went to tarot readers. He went to law of assumption community. And then now he's finding out about awareness and ego. You notice how those modalities led him to his true nature, and his ego is fighting him on it. His ego is fighting him on it. And I have to step back sometimes because my ego wants to react to it, because I don't know how many other ways I can explain these concepts to people without having to step back and allowing it to just be in their awareness, and for them to naturally get to a point where they are able to hear me. Okay? Because there's no point in me arguing with someone about ego stuff and operating an ego with them, because if we have two egos arguing with each other, you both are technically insane. Okay? And I'm not doing that. I know better. I read a lot of the Course in Miracles. And if you operate an ego, you are insane. All right? Your awareness is your true nature. It's neutral. It just observes. It allows in. And it's an allowing. You know, it's a knowing. Okay, the ego has came in and distorted it. So with this concepts that I'm talking about with the ego, this is, you can just call this the law of detachment, because you're releasing the attachments of the ego to the 3D reality, and you're going internal more. You're saturating your awareness with your desire. Okay, you don't need to sit here and do saturation sessions for 5 hours. Give yourself 10 minutes during the day. Meditate more so you can become the observer of your thoughts and not identify with your thoughts. This is about identification, okay? Quit claiming your thoughts and identifying with your automatic mind. You will find peace. You will find stillness when this happens, because your mind that you've claimed with all your awareness and given it so much energy, that's why it's running rampant in your mind. It's almost like, I remember at one point he said in that conversation that he's like, okay, well then, because he made a dramatic shift, but his ego is fighting it. And this was what happens, because the ego, you're taking the control back, and the ego's gonna fight you a little bit on it. You know, distort your perception a little bit. No matter what, it's still an illusion, okay? But he said that, he's like, okay, well, I noticed that if I'm observing my ego and then I'm not my thoughts, then it's the stillness, and it freaks him out, because he didn't know that you can do that. And your mind is naturally supposed to be still. Thinking is exhausting. You know, when we were all doing mental diets in the beginning, like, okay, we got to have a strict mental diet. So you're constantly sitting there fighting your mind the whole time. You know how exhausting that is? I was exhausted. You know how many times I wanted to go home because of that? And it was because I was so attached to the thoughts in my mind, because the community would be like, oh, your thoughts create your reality. Just that line alone creates people to spiral. And it's unhealthy for them to know that. You know why? Because then your ego is like, oh, well, we better just keep correcting it, and just like boom, 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 no negative thought, no negative thought. Oh my God, my thought is gonna manifest. Well, basically it goes off the state of being you're in. So listen, if you're not taking your automatic thoughts seriously, they're not gonna manifest, because you're not taking them seriously. All right? None of my negative thoughts manifested after I figured this out. None of it. My desires left. And now I'm in a knowing, and I just allow, and I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to the time. I don't give a fuck when it shows up, because I realized that my ego made it out to be bigger than the desire actually was. And it made me actually realize that my awakening is more important, and that my state of being and who I am, is more important than any desire. And this is why I want to make sure you all understand the kind of coaching I offer. I'm trying to help you guys detach from the attachment the ego has to your desire by not identifying with the ego, so that you can bring this fucking desire in. and stop being attached to it. You don't need to worry about time. The ego worries about time because it's a man-made construct. And the ego only lives in the 3D, and it looks at time, and it doesn't have any concept of what is limitless, which is your 4D, your awareness. Don't even worry about the 4D and the 5D. Just know about your imagination is the true reality. Your awareness selects the reality for you, and then you go about your little beautiful experience. Because you're here to experience. You're not here to fucking suffer like the ego. The ego is the one that's suffering. And until humanity realizes this, they will always suffer and chase their desires. Why do you think it takes so long for people to manifest their shit? It's because their ego has them in a loop, and their ego keeps reacting to the illusions that it's created. Like I said in one of my other videos, we have a mess of creations out here, but your ego keeps reinforcing it by reacting to it. And if you start observing the reaction instead of becoming and identifying with the reaction, you realize you were never supposed to be reacting in the first place. Awareness is knowing, ego is doubting, okay? If you're not the ego and it doubts, that means all you're left with is awareness and knowing. That's all you're left with, seriously. So, listen to me when I'm telling you, this is your way out. Escaping from the ego is the way out to become an effortless manifester. It's not, you don't have any subconscious blocks. Your ego is the block, okay? And you use your ego as a tool now to release your hidden shadow. Those little emotions that pop up, that anxiety and all that, that's your shadow. It needs to be released and felt with your awareness, because your awareness is love. Your awareness is neutral. Your awareness is calm, knowing, okay? If you shed light on it with your awareness and give it the love it needs, you're not suppressing it anymore. Your ego is the one that sits there and interprets that emotion as bad, and then it suppresses it more. And then you get tricked, in that same emotion that comes up gets reinforced in your reality, and then your ego keeps reacting it and projecting what is internal onto the other person, like they are doing something. People are your mirrors, but don't overanalyze the mirror like crazy. There's no point. You don't need to analyze everyone's behavior. You don't need to do that. What you need to do is stop taking the mind seriously. Detach from your ego. Observe it. Self-inquiry, okay? You don't need to sit here and say 30,000 affirmations to convince a fucking ego that you are awareness, that you need this desire. Your ego is tricking you right now doing that. So do it in a calm manner. That's why I say declarations, okay? You're declaring now. The ego is not affirming for you anymore. Quit allowing the ego to declare for you, okay? This is like it. All right, I know I can make way more other videos on this, but this is what law of detachment is. It's not detachment from your desire like you're gonna forget about it and you have to stop loving it and liking it, all right? Imagine this. Imagine that we just came here and we had no emotions and feelings, right? And we just had these thoughts, you know? We have the feelings and emotions for a reason, so we can experience it. So when we find someone to love and all that, those emotions and feelings come up because they want that's a full-on expression right there. That's a full-on experience right there. But you guys have made the 3D with the people, the objects and all that, your God. Your ego is making them out to be bigger than they are. Okay? So, no matter what, your automatic mind is tricking you. And when you have these good thoughts or bad thoughts, it doesn't matter. The ego is always going to be self-serving. And until you step back, because you can't control the first automatic thought, all right? But what you can do after that, because you have choices now, what you do is you observe it and select which one you want to entertain. And you do not have to take your thoughts seriously anymore. I'm telling you, because I know that there's thoughts that will come up that will be so loud, so annoying. It's the same exact illusion. Okay, just like getting ice cream. Like, oh, I want some ice cream. Oh, I'm gonna go lay down because I just want to relax. That was an automatic thought. That's fine. But when those really juiced up thoughts come up, that's the same exact difference. You can still observe it and be aware of it at the same time and become neutral to it. You just have accidentally given those thoughts, you just have given those thoughts too much energy. And you know what's crazier too is that, say you had an old SP and you fell in love with them and you've been hurt by them. Your ego will remember that. okay? Because you stored it in your body, because you realize, oh my God, they hurt me really bad. Oh, well, I can't manifest them no more because I just can't drop the story. Manifest them at another time, right? So you go date someone else, and that person comes in. And then out of nowhere, your ego starts analyzing the behavior. Your ego steps in and starts critiquing them. That's because you had a past experience. So now your ego stepping in and trying to protect you. And now you're assigning a label that you gave that person to this person. And this is what they were meaning by like, this is what you need to understand about the ego versus reprogramming yourself and creating a whole new self-concept, okay? What they think is that since this happened to you and you had this circumstance happen with your old relationship, they said, well, you have these subconscious beliefs in relationships, you have this concept in money, love, all that stuff. So when say you just gave up on this other person, you went to something else, it's going to happen again. And so guess what? Someone outside in the 3D told you that, so you took it as true, right? And you didn't even know about what the ego was. You just thought that you had to work on your self-concept. Okay, so say you went into this relationship and you're starting to notice similar behaviors. That's your ego assigning that meaning from a past relationship. But now that you understand that it wasn't necessarily a self-concept issue, it was an ego reaction, and that you don't have to take it seriously anymore, you can literally step back and have the relationship you want without thinking you need to fucking fix yourself. All right? You're releasing these beliefs. You're not forming new beliefs, because if you're are identifying with, because this is the I am awareness. This is Christ consciousness we're talking about. This is true awakening. Identify with your awareness and separate from the ego so it can quit fucking up your relationships. Because these coaches, I know, have made bank on you buying their subconscious reprogramming courses, these shadow work courses, and all this other stuff. We got to get down to the root. Let's go live in your past for a while. Let's go do this, because the ego loves living in the past, and it makes you fucking think about the past all the time, and it makes you worry about the future. All you have is the present moment. The ego tries to take you out of the present moment by making you fixate on the past and fixate on the future. This was profound to me when I found this out. I was pissed, because I was like, dude, it was this easy the whole time. It was this easy. I went through all that, but the ego led me through all of that to get me to where I'm at. And I'm trying to help you guys bypass all the shit that I went through. So the ego wants you to go do something. The ego makes you think that you need to do something, like you feel like you're doing nothing, that there's nothing happening in the 3D. Remember, the ego only knows the 3D. So obviously it's going to see that nothing's happening. Duh. That's what the ego is interpreting as. But you as awareness with an imagination, it's already done. It's already here. Your ego just comes in and fucks it up. Your ego is just boom. Like, oh, where is it? It doesn't matter where it's at. Give it to yourself internally. Like, oh, I love that he texted me. I love that. I love that she ended up calling me, blah, 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 blah. And just have a calm knowing. The ego makes you guys obsessed with it. It's not a self-concept issue. It's an ego issue. All right? Identify with your awareness. Meditate on your I am frequently. Bring your desire into your awareness. You don't have to be attached to it like it wants you to, because until you guys realize this, you guys will be in a loop of chasing and putting your guys' desire on a pedestal. And it's not like, how they always said, take your SP off the pedestal. You are the prize. They should be kissing the ground you walk on. You know how egoic that sounds? That sounds so egoic. Because I used to think like that, but it never felt right. I was like, no, I want a healthy, loving relationship. I want this. And it's a convenient excuse to feel love, but you're already loved. They are just bringing that out of you. They aren't themselves going into your mind and body and giving you this feeling. It's naturally coming from you, but your ego assigned it to them, okay? You can have whoever the hell you want out here, all right? It's all based off your perception. Stop using the ego's perception. The ego is the one traumatized. The ego is the one that was hurt and bruised. This is why it's so difficult to let go of the past sometimes, okay? We are all one, but the ego makes you feel separate. And if you had a difficult childhood, your ego remembers that. And it brings that up to make you feel protected, okay? The ego is making sure that you're alive, and that its number one goal is to keep you in survival, to make sure that your fear, worry, and doubt, because that is your best chance of survival. The ego has outlived its purpose, and you're the one observing it, and it needs your awareness of it in order to keep the illusion going. So quit reinforcing the ego's illusion by reacting to everything you see. You have a golden opportunity now to manifest. All right? Go to bed in the morning. Wake up in the morning, do your affirmations, declare who you are, start your day off right. When you're sleeping at night, when you're laying down, do the same thing. Give yourself 10, 20 minutes throughout the day. Meditate. Sit with your I am. Do that. Cultivate this, because this is your true nature. This is Christ consciousness. All right? I don't have a self-concept course to give you. I offer coaching. I can help you with whatever you're going through. But you have to understand that the ego is the one that's blocking you. Okay? It is. There's no amount of affirmations you can say to fight that ego, because you'll exhaust yourself. Just look at it for the unreality it is. All it needs is concepts, attachments, and labels. That's all it is. That's all it is. If you really boil it down and meditate on it for a little bit, you'll realize that the mind is fucking crazy. And the ego is insane, which is the automatic mind. But you're the observer of it now. Stop taking it so seriously. Just be free. Okay? But I'm telling you, when it comes up, when these attachments, and you feel these attachments coming up like you need this person, I know that there's coaches out there that'll be like, you don't want this person, you just want the feeling. Don't worry about what they're saying. Just separate from the ego and then bring shit into your awareness and go live your life. Okay? The ego worries about time, the ego worries about the when and the how. All right? It's trying to make sense of where it's coming, because it knows what you're doing when it comes to, like, say you're bringing stuff into your awareness, and then you'll know that the ego comes in and like, okay, where is it at? We need this to feel love. We're so lonely. But first off, the ego only knows the 3D and the body. The ego is the one that's lonely. And this is where people don't utilize their imagination enough. The ego will step in and is like, well, this is not enough because we need to feel it physically. The ego gets so impatient to not allow this in that you're always in a loop. Stop taking the automatic mind seriously. You are never alone. You are never separate. This is why we're all one. There's only one law. The law of one. We're all one. Everything is God, source, consciousness. We just live in ego consciousness. All right? This is all. We're here to spiritually awaken. And this is my channel, and this is what I'm teaching. You can go listen to other coaches talk about desires and law of assumption stuff and all that, but this is my channel, and I'm expressing it the best way I can for all of you. Okay? So if you want to go down this route, I'm happy to help you. But no matter what, you are not the ego. You're not the attachments that the ego has. You're the one observing the whole entire thing and experiencing the whole thing. But quit allowing the ego to step in and steal your I am. Your I am is the most important thing to cultivate. Bigger than any desire. It can bring in your desires. It can bring in your wants. But the ego is just coming in and hijacking it and making you fear, doubt, and worry. Stop taking it seriously. The ego has outlived its purpose now. We need to awaken to our true selves. Okay? I love all of you. This is the law of detachment if you wanted to break it down. But it's just escaping the illusion of the ego. All right? I love all of you. That's why I'm here. If you guys need my help, all my links are there. But I do my best to just make sure that these videos are informed as possible. Okay? Like I said, you're perfect and amazing, and I love you.